Mark Waid and Dan Mora's Shazam finished its first big story with issue 6, so it's a good time to look back and see if it's worth hunting for back issues or grabbing the trade. Shazam is a character I don't follow, but Waid and Mora's work on World's Finest convinced me to give it a shot, and I'm glad I did. Issue 1 opens with the standard bookkeeping of a number 1. A neat little adventure, a lot of character establishing moments for Billy and Freddy, and a mention of how Shazam is now going by Captain and lost the ability to share his powers with his family. Captain is a better name than Shazam, but it's still a name that feels wrong. With Marvel owning the copyright to the original name, it's unlikely anything will actually stick. The Shazamily not having powers gives Billy more room to shine. They still get to play a big role, however, and even manage to get into a full-fledged fight by the end of the series. Issue 1 also introduces the ongoing conflict for the first arc. The gods, led by Zeus, have decided Billy is wasting his powers as Shazam, and have decided to take a more active role with the Captain. All culminating in a finale where the Captain, under the influence of Solomon, snaps at a bunch of civilians and demanding they worship him. It's a great introduction of the character, the concept, and the status quo of the character, as well as giving good reasons to keep reading. Issue 2 has Billy dealing with the fallout of the last issue, a T-Rex accountant claiming Billy has broken intergalactic law by not following all the proper paperwork when repairing a spaceship, and a plot to steal the Mona Lisa by the Psycho Pirate. That alone would be a lot for a single issue, but with 2 epilogues, one setting up Freddy's arc in the story, and one setting up the Night Terrors tie-in book, it feels full to bursting. The Psycho Pirate fight suffers a bit from lack of room to breathe, with him just being a red herring for the mystery of why the Captain keeps acting out of character. But since the audience already knows from last issue why, it really just ends up being a somewhat middling fight. Still, the other plots make up for it with solid character work. If you're a completionist, this is where the Night Terrors books would go. But you can't pay me enough to care about Night Terrors. Because of the nature of Night Terrors, the book is essentially non-canon, and since it stars Mary Marvel, I didn't see much of a point in getting the books when they came out. Issue 3 opens with Billy rebranding the Shazam fan page to Metamorpho, a change I can get behind. He's also decided to never utter the words Shazam again. That, however, lasts about 11 pages before Billy's forced to act in order to save a group of delegates from Gorilla City from a car crash. Mark Waid really has a passion for some of the less popular aspects of DC. He really gets to show that off a lot in this run. There are cameos from Metamorpho, Plastic Man, Grundy, and Gorilla City all making appearances in this issue, all culminating in the appearance of Emperor Garguax. Shazam took a 2-month break for Night Terrors before this issue, and though nothing about this issue is bad, it's lower energy than the last 2, so I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people drop the book at this time. The issue doesn't do much to convince people to pick it up. It's not bad though. It does well setting up the next issue, and has a few good jokes. As part of the greater run, it's a solid midpoint. Now's a good time to bring up Dan Mora's art. It's stellar. Mora does a great job giving people expressive, unique faces, and the story gives Mora a lot of room to show that. The Garguax plot continues in issue 4. Queen Bee gets involved, and a rift starts forming between Solomon and the gods. Solomon, slowly realizing that he was being arrogant and thinking him and the other gods would do a better job, is an interesting development that gives him a significant amount of depth. After Queen Bee almost kisses a 10-year-old, Billy ends up powerless in a fight between Gorilla City, Garguax, and Queen Bee. Freddy, meanwhile, gets free of the mind control and gathers the Shazamily and the T-Rex accountant together for a plan to save Billy. It's an exciting issue with a lot of funny moments, but also ends with a powerless Billy floating away in space without a helmet. Issue 5 has the Captain teaming up with Mary Marvel against the now combined forces of the Moon Emperor, Gorilla City, and Queen Bee, while Freddy and the Shazamily go to the Rock of Eternity to raid the armory. Dan Mora is putting out his best work with this issue. Mary Marvel in particular looks great in every panel she appears. The fight is stellar, all the character writing is still on point, and Mercury infecting the Captain with his recklessness makes for some fun gags. In the end, Billy goes down to confront the gods, having to stare down Mercury without flinching, all while powerless. By this point, Solomon has left the gods. It's a nice touch that most of them don't even notice he left. Issue 6 sees the Shazamily and the T-Rex accountant come in to fight the gods with Billy, and with their ability to influence him while transformed, Billy is powerless. The start of the comic has Freddy pretending to betray Billy to buy time for the others to arrive, and it does a good job of finishing Freddy's arc of feeling bummed out on losing his superpowers. Meanwhile, the others are showing off the powers of the weapons they took from the Rock of Eternity, and the fight gets to have a lot of cool set pieces, with the highlight of Zeus being turned into a duck. But at the end of the day, it's still kids with toys against gods. When Billy realizes they can't win, he goes to confront Solomon. What ensues is a discussion that really adds a lot of character to Solomon, and does have a nice callback to when Billy was first complaining about the wisdom he receives. Billy is given the ability to defeat the other gods, but to do so means that him and the captain's personalities will diverge. It's a satisfying end, with the captain pointing out how short-sighted the gods have been about all this, and Billy having to now deal with the Miracle Man scenario. Putting a Miracle Man spin on Captain Marvel is definitely something I'm amazed hasn't been done before, and in the hands of a lot of writers, I would say it would be a mistake. However, Waid's been spectacular with keeping the things that make Shazam unique, so I think despite a similar premise, the direction will undoubtedly be different. Waid and Mora have created a comic that feels like what comics should be. Fun, adventurous, dramatic, and creative. It will never not be funny that a 61-year-old man does this better than anyone in the industry. It's an easy recommend. If Night Terrors put you off, I highly suggest coming back. Next week's review will be Action Comics by Philip Kennedy Johnson, so subscribe for that.